So now we're at this place where we are starting to report back. All right, so again, what's happened here is we've come together, we have voted on the main one, the main problem that we need to solve. We have discussed the solution. This is where we finally get to have open discussion. Up until this point, you want to keep that discussion down, or else this can totally derail the meeting, okay? So at this point, we start talking specific step-by-step solution to the problem. What are we going to do first? What are we going to do next? And as you begin to put those things together, you're going to find that, well, to do that, we're going to have these people involved. And then to move to the next step, you're going to have to involve this person. And then moving to the next step, these two people need to go off, and we're going to have to bring somebody else. I mean, that stuff's just going to come up as you put the solution together. So now we have turned over the solution. We've delegated it to an A player. The A player has run through that solution for a specific amount of time, and they have documented, made edits along the way, and now they are coming back to the meeting to report back to the team, here is how the solution works. And here are the changes that we needed to make. It's very important that in this phase here, the A-level player is able to say the 10 steps that we came up with have now turned into 15 steps, or now turned into 7 steps. And we were saying that they needed to be in this order, but it actually, in reality, it needs to be in a little bit of a different order. So we report back and get input from the team on how the system worked. If the system needed a bunch of edits, then after we make the edits, then we come back and we can do step 6 again and run through our time frame of doing the new system that we have changed. Again, don't worry, be patient with this thing. Don't try to get all of your issues solved this week. It's not going to happen. This takes time. But you will get better and better at this system of this whole thing of identifying the work and finding solutions to how you want to solve your issues. Each of these solutions begin to turn into natural systems for you. So once we have reported back and doing our show and tell, all right, I like to call it show and tell, then the last couple things that we're going to do here is, okay, step number 9, we are going to document the steps. Okay, so now this has become the system. The document of your solution has now become the system. So from here on out, the way that we are going to solve this problem is like this. We have put the system together, we have tested the system, we have adjusted the system and run through it again, and now we document the system. And then finally, number 10, we need to communicate the new system with everyone. Communicate. Let's just say that I spelled that right, okay? Communicate the system. So this is where we're going to communicate with the rest of the department, with the rest of the division, with the rest of the company. This is how we do it, okay? We're going to show them this is how we need, so we're going to move from here to training. It's now time to begin to train people in the solution that we came up with. So once again, this is how we kind of get to that place where we are designing systems. First of all, we have to identify where are the problems, where are the issues. So we get our team together. I like this 2-hour meeting to be on a monthly basis, because if you try to do this every week, finding 2 hours every week can be pretty difficult. So I usually like to do this meeting on a monthly basis. And in this meeting, it's identified, it's going to be a 2-hour block where we have this specific team that's coming in. And each time when we get together, we are handling the next issue. Remember here where we voted on number 1? I usually, at that point, will vote on number 2. What, Bob, what'd you have for number 2? Susie, what'd you have for number 2? Manuel, what'd you have for number 2? And we'll identify the top 3. And over the next month, we will solve the first one, walking through this system. And then after that, we'll move right on to number 2. And little by little, those issues that you have identified in your first meeting begin to get solved. They begin to turn from problems, solutions, systems. Problems, solutions, system. Problem, solution, system. Say it with me. Problem, solution, system. Okay? That's how we want to begin to build the solutions and systems in our team, in our company. Because again, if you're not careful, you'll just carry all this stuff inside of your head. You'll be fully aware of the problems. You don't really know how to solve them. And even if you do solve them, you solve them on your own, and you don't solve them through a system. You just solve them on your own. So now you have the solution, and you can't delegate that problem to somebody else. You can't delegate that task to somebody else because you're the only one that knows how to do it. So we have to be sure that we turn the solution into a system. Give it to an A player. Have them tweak it. Have them do it in real time and make the changes that need to be made in the system. Bring that system back to the team. The team will document it, and now it's time to communicate and train. So once again, these are the 13 steps. I said 13. It actually ended up being 10, okay? So I saved you 3 steps. It's already so much more efficient than 13. So what we've done is this is going to be our 10 steps that you need to follow to turn your problems into solutions and take the solutions into systems so that you are able to now to delegate your systems rather than just delegating tasks. Remember talking about this in our last session. We want to get to a place as a manager where we no longer delegate tasks to anybody. It's no longer, hey, I need you to do this, hey, I need you to do this. But from now on, we are only going to delegate systems. We're only going to delegate step-by-step instructions on how to get tasks completed. That way we can ensure, as managers, that way we can ensure that we're going to have repeatability. They are going to solve the problem exactly the way I want them to solve the problem, exactly the way I have planned for them to solve the problem. Again, because if we're not careful, you can delegate tasks to people. They will go and do the task. 8 times out of 10, they won't do it the way that you want them to do it, and so you will end up doing it yourself. It just happens all the time. So I want to keep you from that because we're looking for this thing called freedom. Remember, as leaders in our company, as entrepreneurs, we're looking for this wonderful, elusive thing called freedom. The way to get to this place called freedom is through the wonderful world of designing systems. So your company gets built on the back of systems. Your department is on the back of systems and not just on the back of people. Okay? Again, it's wonderful to have great people in your company. You want the great people in your company. But if it's people that are always doing everything and not processes, then you will become overly dependent on people. And you'll always be looking for the right person. And if somebody leaves that was a great employee, now you're like, oh my gosh, how are we ever going to replace Jonathan? And there's no way to replace Jonathan. He's too much. He's too good. We can't replace Jonathan because we never put Jonathan's work into a system. Or could it be Andrew? Andrew could be the one that was, Andrew was so good at doing all that, and now he's gone. And we're going through, the stages of grief and all that kind of stuff, as opposed to, yeah, Andrew's gone, that's too bad. Well, let's give the system to somebody else. Because the power is in the process. Ooh, sounded pretty good. The power is in the process. Okay, so this ends up our session here, session number 7, talking about how do we identify which work or what work we need to start putting systems together for. Okay? Hope you enjoy this. Again, if you pull your team together, it will really help them gel together as a team. It'll give them more of a sense of empowerment because you have involved them in the process. I wish you guys all the luck. Look forward to our next session, session number 8, where we're actually going to be talking about how do we manage, now that we have signed, or now that we have put together systems, how do we actually manage work on a daily basis? Looking forward to talking about that in session number 8. See you then.